Hi, Jack Bennett here. Welcome to the lesson. In today's lesson, I'm going to show you guys how to play the left flam triplet. The left flam triplet is a really popular thing to play around the kit. It seems to fall under the hands really well, and we can move from the toms and the cymbals back onto the snare quite easily. So this is the left flam triplet. I'll just play it for you, and then I'll break it down. So the left flam triplet, it's a left flam as an accent and then a softer right left. Okay, so make sure you're getting your stick heights here. So it's a left flam, right left. It's almost the same as a left lead Swiss Army triplet, which is a left flam, but then a left and then a right. This is a left flam, then a right, and then a left. Okay, it's really important that you get this sticking, otherwise you don't get the same sound. Left flam, right left, okay? So from here, what you want to do is probably bring the volume of the grace note up a little bit. Usually when we play flams, we have one high and one low, whether it's tap stroke and full stroke or tap stroke and half stroke. We drop them at the same time, and then obviously the lower stroke gets there first, and that's how we get that split brat sound. But if we drop too low on the tom, we're really not going to hear it in context of the fill. So this is an instance where you want to play probably the right hand as loud as the left. All right, so your flam should sound like this, not this. You don't ghost or play non-accented there. We want to hear the tom in the phrase because it sounds great, and it sounds like a really fat, thick sound if we do that. Now, whenever I teach this lick, it always reminds me of a really important technique concept, and that is that whenever you're playing a pattern like this, where you're going continuously from a tom to the snare, or even a cymbal to the snare, back and forth, you want to make sure that you position your hand in between them both and kind of use the flexibility in your wrist to rotate back and forth. That'll just mean you get a real fluidity about the way that you're playing, and you'll get a lot of economy of motion in your technique. So you want to sort of position here for first tom, a little bit lower for second, a little bit lower for floor tom. The last thing that you want to do is do these big lunging movements, pivoting at the shoulder, going. That's just a complete waste of movement. It's a really inefficient technique, and you're just going to reach a threshold of speed that you won't be able to break through. So keep the movement lean and mean, is what I'm always telling my students, and just keep it smaller, and you can sort of rotate with the flexibility of the wrist. Okay? So you can play that in a jazz context. Think of it as a triplet fill first. You can do a bar of time. You could shift it so that the flam is on the upbeat. So at that point, the downbeat would be the right. So. You can also use it in a 16th note context with like a dotted 8th note reference. So if this is 16th notes, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4, you can play this repetitive pattern of 3, and obviously it's going to fall around the beat and over the bar line. Then you'll get. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay. And as I did at the end there, you can do it across 2 beats, you could do it across 3. You don't have to do an entire bar, 4 beats worth of the fill. You can do whatever you need to do. But that's one way of doing it, is in a 16th note context as well. Okay, so just remember, whenever you learn a new unit, and it starts out, the easiest thing to do is to play it as triplets because it is a pattern of 3. But don't just think of these patterns that you learn as being set in stone, that, if it's a pattern of 3, it must only be triplets, or if it's a pattern of 4, it must only be, 16th notes. You can use any, and in fact, some of the most interesting phrases are when you use these units and you do it in a subdivision that is not the same as the number of notes in the unit. That's where you end up with your interesting phrases that fall around the beat and over the bar line. So check that out. That's the left flam triplet.